Do you know where you're going? And even more importantly, do you know why you are going wherever it is that destination might be? Hi, this is Barry Phillips, a 2-minute Torah, day number 1 of Vayetzi, which means, and he went. And we're going to read today one verse. Bereshit, Genesis chapter number 28, verse 10 says, and Yaakov went out, Vayetzi, he went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran. Yaakov is launching. He is leaving home. He is headed out now to his destiny. The folksy Americana picture is he's walking barefoot down the road with the stick over his shoulder and a kerchief tied into a knot on the end of that stick with what little bundle of belongings that he might have. Actually, later on, we realized that he went across a brook with just the staff in his hand. That's all he had. Normally, we think if we're going on a journey, we need to pack about everything we can imagine that we might need and probably end up taking much more than what we actually use. How big a vehicle can we get to get all this stuff in? If you pack for Sukkot, you know what I'm talking about. The older I get, the more I want to streamline and carry as little as is absolutely necessary. But we end up with a trunk full regardless. Yaakov doesn't seem to go with much. And he is, I don't know what he's thinking. Where's your jugs of water? Where are your power bars? Where is your GPS system? How are you going to know how to get there? Rivka is concerned for his life. Esau, in the previous chapter, has said, the days of mourning for my father draw near, and then I'm going to kill my brother Yaakov. That's over in chapter 27 and verse 41. Rivka has heard this, and she knows that there is vengeance in her son's eyes. Yitzhak is blinding, and maybe unaware of certain facial expressions. Maybe he's oblivious to the tension in the air. So what's going on? What's happening here? Rivka is saying that Yaakov needs to run for your life. You move away from something. Yitzhak is saying, boy, you need to go find yourself a wife and not one of these pagan women around here that Esau is married into. You need to go and find a righteous wife. So you need to go to something. So the question I ask today is, in your journey, are you running from something or are you going toward something? And maybe the answer is yes. Am I running away from whatever I'm trying to escape? I'm seeking to go to something that I would rather embrace. When Yaakov gets to his destination and he begins to deal with his uncle Laban, he realizes, okay, beautiful daughter here, but I never banked on all of the trouble for the next 20 years that I'm going to encounter. This is no pleasure cruise for him. And it's a hard road for him to go down. So as much as he was running from Esau, boy, I don't know that he would be desirous to journey where he was going. Rivka had to understand there had to be a separation of these two nations. And in order for Yaakov to experience the birthright that he holds, he can't stay here or it's going to revert back to Esau when he's dead. This says to us then that there is a reason why we move. There is a reason why we transition from one situation to the other. And it's not always a physical move. Sometimes it's just a move from one circumstance into the next. The idea that we're going to find this plateau place where all is well, the grass is green, the sun is shining, no rain in store, and everything is just smooth and easy, those are very, very temporary days. The vast majority of our life is spent resolving issues. And as we shared last week, those issues come to press us into a place of prayer. So Abraham and Sarah had to, lech lecha, they had to get up and move from the familiar to the unfamiliar, to the unseen and the unknown. It was there they found their destiny. The same thing is taking place now in their grandson's life. Yaakov cannot stay in the home camp and marry into the local women and realize his destiny. He has to move somewhere else. In order for you to get where you're supposed to be, doing what you need to be doing, accomplishing the task and the mission that Yah has set for your life, you can't sit still. We can't sit back and just enjoy the moments and relax and rock on our front porch and just ease through life. It's going to be a challenge. Something's got to arise up to provoke us. Otherwise, we will choose, like a river, the path of least resistance. And we will meander and change our course. And Yah says it's a straight and it's a narrow path and it's a short or a narrow door. It's a hard-pressed place to get into, and you're going to have to choose to get there. So world circumstances is one part of it. Personal choices are another part of it. Things that are pressed upon you that you had no idea were coming. That makes a major role as well. As we look at all of these things, let's understand, Yah wants to bring us to Hamakom, to the place. There is where we encounter him. It's not where all the problems are solved. It's where the promises are made. When Yah makes you a promise, when he gives you some insight, when he gives you a revelation of identity, when he provides for you a measure of his presence and says, I'm with you, the next things you're going to encounter are probably not in revival fashion with goosebumps and hallelujahs. They're probably going to be, I wasn't expecting this moments. Okay, you said you were with me. Exactly where are you? And why don't I feel that warm spiritual blanket wrapped around me to where it's all is well no matter what? There are those moments where we will say, if you're here, if you're with me, if life is going as it's supposed to be going, why am I having all of this stuff going on? When those moments arise, please know and understand you're in good company. Throughout the scriptures, you will read where those who were the most chosen of Yah's servants encountered issue after issue and circumstances that were negative. Rav Shaul was a man who encountered Yeshua on the road, had a dramatic encounter with him, a life-changing encounter with him, and he had one problem right after the other. Theological debates, people threatening his life, jail time, shipwreck, beatings, ultimately beheaded. And we would look at that record and say, he failed miserably. He accomplished much, and a crown of life was laid up for him. Yeshua himself, he did not just ease through life. In the years of his ministry, he was challenged, he was provoked, he was denigrated, he was rebuked, he was ultimately imprisoned, beaten, and crucified. And Yeshua said, if they hated me, how much more? They're going to hate you too for my sake. Life is not always rejoicing. Life sometimes is challenging. But in those challenging moments, whether we feel something or not, he is with us. Why? Because we have a destiny to get to, and we have a bride to become joined with, and we have future generations that have to be raised up. And there are the obstacles and the opposing individuals that we have to learn to overcome. And in doing all of this, it is preparation for a kingdom and a life of service to our King. What you're enduring now will be glorious for the days ahead. It's a challenge, but you're not alone. We're in this together, and we're going to make it together. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. Till then, shalom.